focusing in the wireless industry. We'll have Cy from Qualcomm, and Cheryl also will speak after me a little bit about what will, how many know what Qualcomm does in the mobile business? Really? How many people know that they do augmented reality stuff? Okay. So he's going to share a little bit about what they do as well. Argus Smart Lock. The August Smart Lock. Who has one in their home? August Smart Lock? No one has one yet? We should have had some giveaways tonight. So something very, very cool though. And then Jason will talk about that. Revolve. How many folks have heard of Revolve? Oh, okay. We have to have Joya from Atuma. How many people have heard of Atuma? What this and that kind of thing? Santiago from Orange Chef, formerly known as or Chef's League. How many of you guys have heard of that? Oh, and Rob from Shasta Ventures. How many people heard of Shasta Ventures? Okay. So these are the folks tonight. So Qualcomm's point of view is really going to be about its platforms, and they really developed the silicon that they're really the brand behind the brand and a lot of products to connect them. August, definitely the smart lock company is in the home, and it's also a connected device. Revolve is trying to solve as a platform connecting all those connected devices. So essentially, we like to have a universal remote for all your connected devices. It's kind of like what Revolve is focusing on. Atuma is similar as a platform for connecting multiple devices, but also adding context. So if I'm home, turn on the lights. If I do this, or this other action happens, do this other thing. Santiago's team has been working on connecting the smart kitchen. So he's working on a couple of products there that he'll talk about. And then Rob is investing in this space. So we had him on a panel last December, and he was really vocal about, hey, if you have something that's connected devices, wearables, hardware, etc., come and talk to him. So and he put his money where the mouth is, and he was leading investment with Nest. So that's his background, and he'll talk a little bit because he really focused on investing in this new industry. So without further ado, so here are the folks on the panel. I also want to thank Qualcomm for sponsoring tonight. Cy, do you want to come up and introduce Cy from Qualcomm? He has a couple of words to share. About
Great, thanks, Mary. Believe it or not, I'm actually not going to talk about silicon here this morning or this afternoon. By the way, really nice event space. And instead, I'm going to talk a little bit about our direction at Qualcomm, and really to drive the industry towards not just how to get things onto the Internet of Everything, but really programming the Internet of Everything. So we don't call it the Internet of Things because it's a little bit more than just what traditionally people think of as sometimes think of as machine-to-machine equals Internet of Things. It really needs to be a machine to a machine to a human, or vice versa, right? In fact, I would argue the machine to human is even more interesting to that. Within that, of course, mobile is a very important and significant business for companies like us, and for a lot of innovation that's happened through the years. And so for a company like Qualcomm, one of the things we think about is how do we take some of the same dynamics, some of the same intrinsics that we've seen evolve in the mobile space and apply them and be a part of applying them into other industries. So when we define the Internet of Everything, which is actually quite large, right? We actually do think about really digital AV equipment, what you would call, your home, audio and video equipment. We think about appliances and connected appliances. We think about home automation, things that as a consumer you can go out and actually acquire. So there's a lot of things like that, whether it's a lock or your garage door opener that might be connected now, or I'll call it service provider-led home automation. So many times, whether it's an alarm system or something like that, you actually have somebody who's actually installing a device and providing a service as part of that. So there's really two flavors of home automation. And then finally, even automotive, both with telematics and in-car navigation. So in all of those mega markets, because they really are large markets, clearly Qualcomm has silicon that's targeting in all of these markets. For example, in appliances, we announced IFA, a brand new use silicon, specifically that integrates low power Wi-Fi and computing all in one very low cost SoC. Great, fine and well, and now I've earned my keep for the company. But really, the reality is, all these devices are getting out there, and all we think about is that the Internet of Everything means put an embedded web server and connect it back to the cloud, which absolutely is one of the use cases. But what about the proximal use cases? The fact that many times, A, you would not want everything on the Internet just because of security or latency, or frankly, even on broadband networks and definitely over wireless WAN networks, just from a bandwidth perspective, we are going to start saturating things. And so, so our solution is something called AllJoin. And really, the goal of AllJoin is to enable, as a software layer, at the service layer, really kind of application middleware layer, a way for devices to express themselves and be controlled by other devices in a OEM agnostic, OS agnostic, and really even device agnostic manner. So this isn't about profiles, this is about exposing your APIs. So you don't need a GitHub account to actually know what an API is, obviously. And you know, our fundamental belief is that vertical solutions, absolutely, they will flourish and they will solve certain problems. They will flourish really within, you know, kind of the prosumer market only. Really for a mass adoption over time of these new connected devices in all these markets that I spoke about, you need something to stitch these together. And there's different ways to stitch this together, right? You can run the same operating system on all of them and program to it. You can run the same virtual machine on all of them and program to it. That's really, really unrealistic for many reasons, right? Not only for history and perspective, but there are the computing resources you see in an integrated digital TV is very different than the computing resources that you, and the software environment as well, that you actually see in an appliance, never mind the connected light bulb, right? And so this fragmentation of computing power and the operating systems over them, from RTOS all the way up to high-level operating systems like Linux, is going to exist for a while. Well, if that's the case, how do you, harness a same kind of growth and innovation in the market as what we saw in the smartphone space, right? Smartphones came out, and all these innovative apps that we would have never even thought about, from Smule to other mashup apps and even dedicated apps, made greater use of the sensors and the APIs that you can get on the device, as well as the cloud, to really complement both and hopefully, in many cases, make our lives easier. Some of you would argue make your lives a lot more of a hassle. But we want, from a Qualcomm perspective and other large companies, to actually see the same kind of growth, because at the end of the day, that actually not only adds more value to us as an end consumer, but also really helps to drive the innovation of the market forward. So how do we do this in these other markets? And what we essentially come back to is that there's two levels of connectivity around that most of these devices need. One is absolutely the web, or the cloud connectivity. And for that, we already have a language, or we already have a protocol, it's HTTP, on top of IP. And we also have a language, that's really HTML and XML. And essentially, what we're missing is its partner in crime for proximal networking. And that's exactly where AllJoin comes in. And now AllJoin itself works on top of a variety of different transports. It actually works on any transport, but we have it ported over Bluetooth, IP, etc. But more important than the transport layer nuance is that it allows for the programmability, much like HTML and XML did, for the proximal network, for the things near you. For the product marketing management folks, you'll appreciate that I needed one slide on here that actually showed your technology right in the middle, in this case my technology, AllJoin. But putting aside the fact that it's not AllJoin the operating system or AllJoin the application running in all these devices, we are proposing to the industry, and we are starting to get actually uptake from device manufacturers and app developers to incorporate the AllJoin engine into all these disparate types of devices, from AV equipment to appliances to even to cars and home automation devices. The way it looks, this slide is actually for the product management folks in you, who you have to show a block diagram, or else without that you're nothing. It shows that really what does it do? AllJoin, one of the things, it sets up a dynamic peer-to-peer network and actually manages that without the application developer ever having to deal with that. And on top of that, what we've enabled are standards-based ways over AllJoyn to do things such as export your control surfaces or send a notification. Think of essentially an SMS message between a device and an end user, or even to send an audio bit stream itself. So these are what we're calling AllJoyn core service frameworks. But essentially, the combination of these two things are what we believe is just one of many tools to enable the programmability of these devices from other devices that weren't made by the same manufacturer, that aren't on the same operating system, and perhaps, and many times, weren't purchased at the same time. I'll stop talking about AllJoyn for a second here, and also talk a little bit about the fact that we at Qualcomm are eating our own dog food. So everything that we talk about with AllJoyn has been from day one and continues to be run as an open source project in the vein of WebKit. That's our shining star as to what we try to emulate. And just like with WebKit, there are different browsers built on WebKit that are built above and beyond even that. And so we've done just the same just this last week, and I mentioned this only because we announced this last week. We announced AllPlay. Now, of course, we had to have all in the name, without a doubt. And then after you do the trademark search, there's only so much. And what AllPlay is a whole home media solution, media platform built on top of AllJoyn. So AllJoyn does the discovery, management, control, and the audio streaming. And what AllPlay adds to it is media synchronization. So what this means is there's a runtime, of course, in your device, but there's also, just like with AllJoyn, a kind of a superset SDK that's also embedded into your application itself. And so the target from our perspective is not only enable AllJoyn, but really even show the industry how, specifically here on whole home audio, how device OEMs and application vendors can even evolve AllJoyn to be a superset solution that, there isn't a contrast between having a proprietary kind of buttoned up solution and a horizontal platform, both which coexist. Last but not least, one of the things that I'd like to say is that, we talk a lot in these industry forums about how quickly is this Internet of Everything going to happen. It is in our firm belief at Qualcomm that it is absolutely going to happen, but as fragmented verticals until you get both the ubiquitous computing, which is there in almost all devices, connectivity, which is coming in between this year and next year, even in the lowest tiers of devices, as well as programmability. And clearly we think that's missing in this day and age. So with that, I'll conclude and maybe on the panel for additional questions, etc. But hopefully it gives you a little bit of view of what Qualcomm's doing in software, much like our augmented reality software, related and unrelated, but in software for the Internet of Everything. And with that, let me invite up our moderator, Mark Hung from Gartner.